A warning for you now that this story that we're going to cover now may contain distressing content. So the parents who neglected their disabled daughter to the point that she died in her own filth, weighing 23 stone, has been jailed. They've been jailed. The judge handed the parents sentences of 7 years and 6 months and 6 years, respectively. I'm going to go now for more detail on this, live to Swansea Crown Court, where our national reporter, Theo Chikomba, is. Theo, thank you very much. What is the latest, please?
Well, this afternoon, the parents of 16-year-old Kaylea Titford were sentenced after being found guilty of gross negligence manslaughter. Her mother, Sarah Lloyd-Jones, was sentenced to 6 years in prison, and her father, Alan Titford, was sentenced to 7 years and 6 months. And this afternoon, the judge stated that they were both responsible for their daughter's death.
Everything she could do for herself, she did. But she died just after her 16th birthday. You, Sarah Lloyd-Jones, her mother, and you, Alan Titford, her father, caused her death by shocking and prolonged neglect over lockdown.
In October 2020, a grandparent called 999. 999 then called Kaylea's home, where her father spoke into the phone to an operator. And on that day, on the 10th of October, they found a paramedic went into her room and they found her face. The paramedic told the family, "I'm ever so sorry, there's nothing I can do." Shortly after that, police officers arrived to the property and they described her room as it filled the room, the smell in the room, and rotting flesh. We understand she died after suffering from inflammation and infection from ulcerations caused obesity and mobility. When her body was examined, maggots were found on her body, which they believe were there in the days leading up to her death, and maggots were subsequently found in the examination on her bed shortly after, when her body was removed. During the trial, which lasted 2 weeks or so, from January into February, her father, Alan Titford, claimed at trial that Sarah Lloyd-Jones, her mother, was responsible for Kaylea's care, and when he was asked, he let his daughter down so badly, the removals worker said, "I'm lazy," in his own words. The court heard that her mother, Sarah Lloyd-Jones, had an average intellect and poor coping strategy, but they accepted that both of them should have done better. And of course, today the court heard about that period from when lockdown began in March 2020, leading up to October. And we also heard that investigations have found that they spent over £1,000 in fast food, so there was no duty of care when it came to her health. And just a reminder, her mother was sentenced to 6 years and her father, Alan Titford, 7 years and 6 months.